Hi guys, Dana here, and I'm here today with quite a strange topic, summer plans, right? I don't usually give speeches or do streams on topics that are not connected to the exam structure, to tasks, to the language itself, because I don't like it, to be honest with you. But I do get asked quite a lot what to do, right? What to do in different situations. And well, during the summer is one of those situations. So I have decided that maybe I can give you something useful with this stream. And well, let's see what comes out of it, right? Before we do that, though, for those of you who don't know me, again, my name is Dana, and I am a senior methodologist and teacher at the online school Учёба.ru. I graduated from MSLU, which is one of the best linguistic universities in Moscow for sure. In Russia, yes, I would say so. I finished the faculty of the English language. Well, that was my first language. My second, I mean, the first one is Russian still. Sometimes doesn't feel like it, but yeah, my English is my second language. I have also an international teacher certificate. And well, the thing that a lot of students like about me is that I got 100 points for ЕГЭ. Well, they like it because, you're going to pass the same exam. So, of course, that's a good fact. It I don't know, makes me more trustworthy, I guess, right? Because like I know what I'm talking about. And well, the fourth fact is actually my favorite one, uh, because that's why I do everything, right? Because I'm absolutely in love with the language that we are here speaking, that I am trying to teach a lot of students. Uh, and well, that has been with me my whole life. I also love teaching English, right? So, uh, yeah, that's why I'm here. Happy to be here. The last fact is just an absolutely random fact about me. I can also design a flat for you, because well, that's my second degree, my second education. I'm an interior designer as well. I have left that, as a hobby, but I hope I'm pretty sure I can still do that. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm not alone, right? I'm with the online school, Учёба.ру. And we have 5,000 graduates, I mean, from our school, who got 80 plus for ЕГЭ and 5 for ОГЭ. I've just recently, actually today, got a couple more results for ЕГЭ from our students, and they were good as well, 70, 80, and more, which is very, very I was happy to get those results, and those kids, those students worked really hard. So, yeah. We have a modern educational platform on which you can practice absolutely any skill in English that you need. Not only in English, we teach many subjects, and well, the last but not least, very important thing about us is that we have different levels of studying English, right? So you prepare for the same exam, but we do have different programs for you if you are on a lower or a higher level of English, which I think is actually very important, very useful, and it keeps lessons more productive if you do it that way. All right, 50 experienced teachers and methodologists are working for you, right? And all of them, all of us, want to make your journey towards your 100 points for your exams pleasant, fun, and very useful. Now we are ready to start our today's topic. And I've decided to make it so that we look at questions, because that's what's inspired this stream questions that students ask me from time to time. So the first one is very simple, right? How to study English. I am not going to talk here about, different methodologies and different ways to study, but I am going to talk about the way you can make English um, more, what's the word? Sorry, got out of my head. So I guess it's about making your life more about English than it is right now, right? That's the point here. Number two, if my level is high, can I pass языку with maximum points? And here we are going to talk about языку as an exam, right? Because that is a very important question. The short answer is no, but we will get into details a bit further in this presentation, in this stream. Number three, how to remember all the words. There are a lot of words in the English language, just like in any other language, to be honest with you. And again, the short answer here is you can't, right? You can't remember all the words and you don't need all the words, but we will speak here about the strategies that you can use to remember the words that you do need, right? And well, we'll see, right? Let's give something a surprise. Number four, I hate grammar. How do I make friends with it? Well, that's not a literal question that students ask, but a lot of students struggle with grammar, right? Struggle with understanding it, with using it in their own speech, right? And we will talk about how to make this journey a bit more interesting, how to make it more productive, right? Not to only learn rules, but also to use them, right? We don't need theory with grammar, we need practice. And number five, last one, what topics can there be in writing and speaking at the exam, in the writing and speaking parts, right, at the exam? That is another very popular question for some reason. Well, we will answer it. It's not a difficult question, and that's why it's for last. Okay. Ready, steady, go? Let's do this. So the first question, how to study English. I drew a small picture here for you. I'm not an artist, so forgive me for the picture being very basic and simple, but that is what I want you to do with your life, right? Surround yourself with English. Put it everywhere. Change your settings on your phone or on your computer, the gadget that you use most often. Make it so that you see English more often, that you hear English speech more often, and well, it's a good idea to read something as well. So basically just do something, anything, to put yourself into a situation where you have to understand English words, right? Where you have to see them often, hear them often, and, well, interact with the language itself. A couple particular tips here, right? Like, what can you do? Well, it's different for different people because we all have our own lives, right? Our own routines, stuff we do every day. So it's better if you don't add a new habit with English, right? Because that's actually two, new habit and English. So it's better if you add English into something that you already do pretty often. If you listen to music, if you love music, right? I can't understand that, but a lot of people I know love music, right? You can find new artists, right? Artists that sing in English, and that could be a good way to learn something new. Songs, just as movies, they do sometimes teach us, I don't know, bad grammar, right? But that shouldn't be a problem. That's not why you choose music or movies or whatever else that you want to choose. That's not why you're doing it. Not to learn grammar from songs. That's not really a good idea. But to surround yourself with English, to put yourself into a situation um, where you are with English one on one, right? And you have to interact with it. What are some other ways? Well, playing video games, I know, is another popular hobby. Again, I'm not a fan, but a lot of people play video games. And if you do that in English, then it's going to be, I don't know, +1 educational goal, right? I know a lot of people who play video games and who actually learned the language in video games. So that is possible for sure. If you're prone to uh, self development, right, self education, that's definitely a way to go. One of many, right? But yeah, it is. It is possible. I have seen that with my own eyes. Um, Right. Maybe not at the level of, I don't know, passing Yage, right? But still, it's a very good way to put yourself into a situation where you have to understand what's happening, right? Movies, that is my drug of choice. Movies and series even more than movies, right? I love this way of I don't know, submerging into English and into a different reality, right? So I do definitely recommend it. Um, and with movies and series and games as well, actually, it might be even easier to be in that situation with English because you kind of are, right? It's imaginary, but still you're there, right? In a game, you play a character, usually, right? I I'm not really familiar with all the game formats, but I suppose that in games you usually play someone, right? You are someone else in a game, and if you are someone else in a game and that someone else speaks English, then that might be a good way to go, right? With movies and series, we don't play a role, right? But we also always associate ourselves with someone from that movie or series, right? And that's also a very good way to kind of mm, submerge yourself in it. YouTube, well, this can be very different, right? A very different experience for different people. It could be educational videos, like, well, maybe not this one, but all the others on our channel for sure, right? So you can actually watch videos that tell you about the grammar of the English language, teaches you new videos that teach you new vocabulary or ways to, I don't know, do tasks in your exam, right? Or there could just be, I don't know, blogs of regular people, right, that tell you about their lives and stuff. YouTube is a very huge platform, right, that can offer you absolutely anything that you want. You could watch videos on, I don't know, how to play cards, yeah, and that could also be absolutely all right. Why not? You can choose any video that's any type, right, of video that's makes you, I don't know, interested and enthusiastic. And if you watch those videos in English, that's going to be a double pleasure, right? Double usefulness. The last one here, last but not least, again, is of course books, right? Books, to be honest with you, is not the best way to to surround yourself with English because, well, books are just written language, right? Uh, it's different, but there is a way to make it as useful as movies or games or music. Listen to books, right? So you put on the audiobook and you open the real book. Well, electronic or paper book, it doesn't really matter. But if you look at the text and you listen to the text at the same time, that makes it much more useful and productive to you because you're also getting uh, the audio version of it, right? The audio version of the book, of course, but of the language as well, and that is very important um, for every learner, right? Okay, what else here? Um, well, I guess that's it for now. Do you have any questions about any of the ways? Again, I'm not saying that any one of them is like better or the best. It all depends on what you like, on how you spend your time. You know. Okay, no questions. Moving on then. Life hacks. Life hacks are connected to all the ways that we have just discussed. They are here in a very, uh, quick note way, but still. Listen. What do I mean by listen? Well, that's exactly what I mean. Listen to English, right? Listen to it everywhere. Movies, games, songs, books, right? YouTube, anywhere that you can do it. Right? Social media is another good way to listen to English. And the second one is connected to the first. Repeat. What do I mean by repeat? When you listen to something, you hear the intonation, you hear the pronunciation, the accent, and that is very good information. And to get that information into your head, you should do the same thing, right? So if you listen and you hear a phrase and then you repeat that phrase out loud, that is going to make so much sense to you. I absolutely love this exercise. If you listen to native speakers, right? So speakers from the UK, the US, Australia, uh, even New Zealand, um, that is very, very valuable to you because intonation is as important as a lot of other things like grammar or vocabulary. Sometimes it's more important than grammar, for example, because a lot of native speakers do not care if you use correct grammar, right? But they do care what intonations you use. And if you use strange intonations, strange, I mean not because they're strange in general, but because they're strange to this particular language, then it might be a problem in communication, right? You might not get across what you wanted to get across. So repeating after native speakers is a very good idea. You might look strange or funny or even weird, but who cares, right? You're working on something that you love or like or even just need, right? And that is important. That's important work. Um, I absolutely loved doing it when I was a teenager. I still do it from time to time when I hear something that seems cool to me. I still do it. Like I'm just watching a series and I hear someone say something funny or say something I don't know that seems just cool to me. I just stop the video and I repeat the same thing, and I don't know. It's a lot of fun. Actually, you should try it. If you haven't, you should. Definitely recommend it. Okay, the third one, talk. Talking is very important. I mean, speaking, right? Speaking the language. You can't learn a language if you don't speak it, right? That's absolutely impossible. Maybe if you're a genius, maybe, but for us ordinary folk, um, it's really important to speak, to practice the language that you are studying. If you don't have, I don't know, friends from the UK, maybe those are quite rare in Russia, but you do have the internet, right? You also have me and your friends who are also studying English and your group mates. So even if you don't have anyone, like you're absolutely alone sitting here in front of a computer and your internet is off tomorrow, you can still talk, right? You can still speak the language to yourself, right? I know, again, I am recommending something weird, but it is a good practice, right? You actually speak to yourself much more often than to, okay, maybe not you, but me. I speak to myself much more often than to anyone else when I'm not working, of course. So it's a very good way to practice, right? To practice not even just the language, but the way that you think, right? Because if you're thinking in Russian and then translating it into English, that is very tiring. That's exhausting for your brain, and that's not a good way to practice the language. So what we're aiming at, what I always try to teach my students, is thinking in the language that you're speaking, right? That's the goal always. In the way that I teach English, it's always the goal. That's why I very rarely speak Russian at my lessons. That's one of the reasons. All right, next, gadgets. Well, I have already said something about gadgets, right? Your computer, your phone, even, I don't know, your vacuum cleaner, right? If it can be in English, just set it to English and enjoy. But be careful, because if the piece of, I don't know, if the gadget is Russian, then there might be something wrong with English there. I have seen that, unfortunately. Yeah, so mm, sometimes they are not translated the right way, right? They don't use authentic words. They just translate from Russian. So that's not a good way. But if you have, I don't know, I'm not sure we have Russian laptops or computers, so that shouldn't be a problem with your computer or with your phone, right? Uh, but yeah, gadgets are another way to put in English into your life. The last one is maybe a bit outdated. I'm not sure. Do people keep planners or diaries still? Guys, do you have a diary or something like that where you like write your thoughts or what happened today or yesterday? Do you do that? Can you share, please? I really have no idea if people do this these days. Not really. Right. I still do it, by the way. I don't know. I like it. It kind of makes a system out of my life or whatever. All right. Well, if you do it, then it's a good idea to start doing that in English, maybe from time to time, right? Maybe not all the time, but I don't know. If you're in the right mood, you can write in English, right? I know that a lot of people switched to like electronic planners or diaries. Well, you can do that online or just, I don't know, on your computer as well. That's not a problem. I just like the way, I don't know, the pen feels in my hand and the way it communicates with the paper. So it's a whole thing. I like writing in like with my hand and with a pen. So uh, yeah, if you don't do it, then just forget about it. Uh, but could be a nice way to, I don't know, get to know yourself maybe a bit better and practice English at the same time. All right, guys, moving on. Question number two, right? Can I get 100 points if I have a high command of English but have no idea what yoga is about? The answer is no, right? You can't get, you can get a high score Yes, for sure. Because, well, yoga is still about English, right? And if you do know the language, then you will get, uh, well, at least some points, right? You're not going to fail for sure. But there are, of course, a lot of details that you do need to know, that you need to study and practice, even if you have a high level of English. Just like with any other exam, to be honest with you, you can't pass IELTS with a, I don't know, with the highest score if you haven't studied the exam, right? Same goes for TOEFL or any other language exam. All of them have particular structure, all of them have particular tasks, and it's a good idea to study those before actually going to the exam. So all of these things here speak to the same thing, right? If you've never heard these words and if you've never studied these documents, then maybe you should give it a try, because there is actually quite, well, yes, there is some information in them on how to do this better, right? How to succeed, basically, right? Kimi are the documents that you get at the exam. On those, all your tasks are written. Blanki, I call them answer sheets usually. There you have to write your answers, and again, there are rules on how to do that, right? And how to fill out those answer sheets. Uh, if you don't know the rules, then you might make, well, quite a lot of mistakes, not because you don't know English, but because you don't know this particular exam. Кодификатор. That's a document by FIPI, right? This document states everything that you should know and that you should know how to do, right? So all the skills that you should possess to successfully complete the exam, to successfully pass it. Right, and all the vocabulary topics are there, all the grammar topics that can be tested in this exam. So that's a very useful document, to be honest with you. It's written again in a bureaucratic, kind of complicated way, but there is very useful information there for us when we are preparing for the exam. Спецификация. Another document that goes usually in pair with кодификатор. I'm not really sure that this document is very useful for students, but it could be if you want to get some additional information to the level of the tasks that are there in the exam, because there are different levels in ЕГЭ, right? Like listening 1 and 2 are the basic level, and 3 through 9 are the higher level, and, well, all the tasks are, you know, of different levels. If you want to know how many points you can get for each task and what kind of, I don't know, texts, what kind of audios you're going to hear during the exam, well, that's the way to go. Usually, students are not very interested in this document, but you know, I just take information from there and give it to you in a more, I don't know, modern and aesthetic way. Yeah, not just a black and white piece of paper. And the last one, критерии оценивания, that's actually a very important thing for us, right? Because we need критерии оценивания, assessment criteria, I call them, for every task that is checked manually, right? So that's the writing part and the speaking part. And if we don't know the assessment criteria, then we don't really know what the experts are looking at, right? What they are going to take points away from you for or give you extra points for. So these are really important to us, right? Here are, you know, only 5 things that came to my mind before, well, when I was making this presentation. But I'm sure that there are a lot of other details and a lot of other things that make it so that it's really hard to pass ЕГЭ or any other exam again if you don't know the structure, if you're not familiar with the actual exam. And so, right, why not give you that structure, just a little bit, very shortly, right, concise. So there are 5 parts, right, in our exam at ЕГЭ. We have listening, which contains 9 tasks based on 3 audios, right? So 9 tasks, but 3 audios. 3 different texts that you have to listen to. Reading is another part, and it also consists of 9 tasks and 3 texts that you have to read. There are different activities there, but only 3 texts, right? Grammar and vocabulary. This part contains 18 tasks, but they are pretty short, right? So they aren't going to take as much time as listening or reading, for example. At least they shouldn't. Right? The writing part is one of the, I guess, longest parts because it contains 2 tasks, but one of them is really difficult. And that one is the written statement, right, based on an infographic, and you're kind of doing a project there, right? You have to write a paper. So that task usually takes a lot of time out of the exam. But again, depends on how much you practice while you're preparing for it. The last part is speaking, and speaking usually happens on a separate day, right? So on one day you write listening, reading, grammar, vocabulary, and writing, and then you go home, you, I don't know, rest and prepare for the speaking part, and then on another day you take the speaking part of the exam. It only contains 4 tasks, and I like to say that this is like the shortest exam of your life, because it only takes 17 minutes, right? That's the whole speaking part. And usually, it happens on a separate day. All right. What are the tips on how to prepare for the exam? The first one is my absolute favorite because it plays a huge role when you're preparing. Revise, right? So once you learn some information, it very easily and very fast it gets away from you, because our brains aren't wired the way that we want them to, right? We can't really tell them, okay, this is important information, please remember it. It doesn't work that way. We remember things that we repeat very often, right? So I don't know, when you brush your teeth, you're not thinking of how exactly to brush them because you've been doing that your whole life, right? Every day, twice a day. It's better that way. So you're not thinking about that. You don't need to revise that action to, because you're repeating it every day. And so the same goes for learning anything. You should revise. That's the best advice you're gonna get. If you learn something after a day, after 2 days, after a week, after a month, revise that information. Look at it again, remember it, and use it in your own speech. That's the most important thing. Ask for feedback. Yes, if you're studying absolutely anywhere, at school, at an online school, I don't know, some courses with a tutor, ask for feedback. Don't accept answers like, I don't know, your email is bad, here is 0 points for you. No, you need more. You need why it's 0. You need specific mistakes that you made so that you can see them, so that you can work on them and not make them again, right? So if your teacher doesn't want to give you feedback, ask for it again, please. Feedback is one of the most important things that you should get while you're studying for the exam. The third one is connected, of course, to feedback. Make mistakes and work on them, right? Making mistakes is a very good way to learn. I'm not tired of repeating this. Making mistakes is absolutely essential to learning. So please do make mistakes, but after you've made them, work on them, right? Have a look. Why? Understand why it's a mistake. Understand how to correct it. That is very important. The fourth one, regular mock exams. Again, it is about repeating the same action again and again, because that's how you get better, right? There is a saying in English, practice makes perfect, and it's absolutely true. So do take regular mock exams. Mock exams are just test exams, right? Exams that are not real, but you make them so that they seem real. Yeah, we at our school, for example, give students mock exams each month. Every month that they are studying with us, they always get mock exams, and we check them and we give them feedback. And that is very important because every time you pass a mock exam, you get better at it. You get less stress, you get more insight, you get better at doing the same tasks over and over again. So again, please do it if you want to pass this exam or any other exam really with a high score. That's the way to go. Just do it very often. Right? Well, not very often, but every month I think that's all right. Maybe twice a month if you're up for it. Yeah, it takes quite a lot of time. So as much as you can, right? The last one is speak. We have mentioned that in the part where somebody asked me how to study English, right? Speak. And here it's the same way because our exam does have a speaking part, and I'm not going to say that it's impossible to pass the speaking part if you don't usually speak English in your daily life, but I am definitely going to say that it's much easier to pass the speaking part with a high score if you speak English every day, or at least, I don't know, at lessons, right? So please do speak again as much as you can in your life, at least to yourself. That's a good idea. All right, guys, a couple of things in Russian. I think so. I'm gonna try about our school, right? About how we teach kids and help them prepare for different exams, for ОГЭ and for ЕГЭ. У нас на сайте современная платформа для подготовки к экзаменам. Абсолютно все, что нужно для обучения, все те mock exams, про которые я говорила, все домашки, все уроки, все это собрано в одном месте, в такой копилочке знаний и практики для вас, для того, чтобы вам было удобно готовиться к экзаменам. Интерактивные видеоуроки — это основа нашего курса. Здесь вы получаете абсолютно всю понятную, разжеванную теорию с конспектами, с короткими скриптами той теории, которую вы только что посмотрели в видосе, да, чтобы вам не нужно было возвращаться к этому видосу каждый раз, когда вы что-то забыли. У вас есть печатная версия. Ну, у нас она онлайн, но вы можете ее распечатать в любой момент, и это очень удобно. Можно целую книгу, целый учебник собрать по конспектам. И, собственно, да, с упражнениями для закрепления материала. Здесь сейчас на слайде видно справа скриншот с телефона. С телефона тоже можно проходить уроки, и мне кажется, что это очень здорово для современного мира, в принципе. Ну, это удобно. Да, вы можете делать это в любой момент, где угодно, не только когда вы рядом с компьютером. Вот, и, собственно, сейчас нарисую. Под видосиком, под уроком вот тут, у вас здесь же есть упражнения, да, в которых вы... Ой, сори. В которых вы можете потренировать то, что вы только что изучили. То есть практика на самом деле начинается вот тут. Да, она начинается еще под самим видосом с теорией, которую вы только что посмотрели. Ой, sorry. Да, практика продолжается. Вот здесь на практических семинарах. Они идут каждую неделю в нашем годовом курсе. В летней школе у нас на самом деле 2 семинара. но нет теории в интерактивных видеоуроках. Ну, тут, конечно, зависит от того, к чему вы привыкли и от того, что вы предпочитаете, но мне, например, нравятся оба варианта. Я бы взяла и то, и другое, и можно без масла. Практические семинары — это, собственно, живое общение с преподавателем. Да, вы приходите на семинар, и вот не как здесь, только я говорю, а вы можете только комментарии писать. А разговаривать можно, да, с преподавателем, можно также включить видео, звук, задать все свои вопросы, услышать ответы на них обязательно и попрактиковаться в том, что вы изучили в теоретическом видосе, который посмотрели. Еще продолжается практика, конечно, в домашке. Да, домашки у нас с быстрой проверкой чаще всего. Быстрая проверка есть тогда, когда есть либо варианты ответа, либо какой-то короткий ответ, на который преподавателю не нужно смотреть, чтобы сказать, правильный он или неправильный. Да, то есть это вся тестовая часть из нашего экзамена. Здесь же вы получаете решение. Во многих заданиях есть подсказки, да, то есть если вы не уверены насчет ответа, вы можете тыкнуть на подсказку, вам что-то там расскажут, как вам помочь, да, и вы выберете либо верный ответ, либо, ну, иногда, да, неверный, и увидите решение, почему же ваш ответ неверный и какой был верным. Прямо здесь, прям сразу, без каких-либо длительных ожиданий. Есть также задания, конечно, которые невозможно проверить быстрой проверкой компьютером, и тогда нужно чуть-чуть подождать, пока преподаватель посмотрит на ваш ответ, пока он проанализирует его, напишет вам фидбэк, отправит вам фидбэк, и будет у вас счастье. Пробники ежемесячные, тоже про них рассказала. Именно это я называю mock exams, да, когда говорю по-английски. Такие пробники у нас проходят каждый месяц в школе. В летней школе их всего 2 в начале, чтобы понять, где вы начинаете, и в конце, чтобы понять, чему вы вас научили за все это время, с чем вы выходите, собственно, в сентябре, да, в учебный год. В годовом курсе такие пробники проходят каждый месяц, и здесь вы можете увидеть тоже, что часть заданий проверяется автоматически, тестовая часть, а потом все остальные задания отправляются преподавателю, чтобы он посмотрел, проверил, рассказал вам все, что он думает про ваше задание, да, чтобы вы могли поработать над своими ошибками и в дальнейшем их уже не совершать. Удобное расписание и список дел, да, у вас в профиле всегда есть ваше индивидуальное расписание, да, вам не надо искать там по строчке, где моя литература. Автоматическое расписание формируется специально для вас. Цветами выделяем разные предметы, да, вот для литературы синий, для английского розовый, кстати, мне повезло. Для химии какой-то зелененький, для математики желтый. Я на самом деле хотела желтый, но мне не дали. Вот, но это тоже удобно чисто визуально, да, воспринимать, ну, по какому предмету у меня сегодня семинар. Если вы готовитесь с нами по разным предметам к экзаменам, то это прям, ну, сильно упрощает задачу, не надо никуда вчитываться. Мы всегда на связи, да, и мне кажется, что это одно из наших главных преимуществ, потому что я всегда абсолютно в восторге получать вопросы от студентов, и не только от студентов, на самом деле, когда на Ютубе или в Телеграм-канале нашем задают вопросы, я тоже очень радуюсь, потому что I'm in love, right? I'm in love with English and with teaching it, и поэтому я очень радуюсь, когда у людей возникает интерес к языку, и я очень рада отвечать всегда на них. Вот. Открыто к фидбэку тоже всегда. Что-то случилось с словом, там где-то между русским и английским оно застряло. Ну, бывает. Система уведомлений, да, чтобы вы ничего никогда не забывали, не пропускали. Но если пропускаете, то все занятия у нас тоже записываются, поэтому это не совсем проблема, просто надо будет нагнать. Конечно, лучше не пропускать, потому что, ну, время — это ограниченный ресурс, да, если мы пропустили что-то сегодня, то завтра придется сделать x2. Вот. Все, продолжаем. Right, switching back to English. Our third question: how to learn words? Well, guys, there are of course different ways, right, to learn words. Here on the screen, you can see some pictures I found for you. Apps, notes, write notes in your phone, or written notes, whichever one you think is more appropriate, whichever one you're used to, use that, right? One of the apps that I like, and this is not an ad, it's just an app that I use. Yes, I still use apps for, new vocabulary, because again, like you can't know all the words, but sometimes I do meet interesting words that I haven't seen before, and I add them to my app. And sometimes when I'm on the subway, I open that app and I practice like I am an absolute dushnila, right? That's what I do, and I think that it's actually a good way to, I don't know, self-develop, right? So try this app if you want. If you don't, try another app. Yeah, I hear that Quizlet is very popular. I do not like it. I don't even know why, but it's just not convenient for me. But I know a lot of people who use Quizlet and some other apps, right, to learn new vocabulary. I like this one. Mind, it has, I think, 2.5 rating on App Store, but I don't know why I like it. It's, I mean, the whole dictionary is there, right? It's amazing. I love Cambridge Dictionary, and that's why I love this app, because I don't have to write anything myself. All the words are already there, and it's Cambridge, so I trust it. So yeah, I love this app, but there are, of course, many different apps. What does it mean to know a word? How do we know that we've actually learned a word? All right. First of all, of course, you do need pronunciation, right? You do need to know how to actually say that word. Yeah. So when you're looking up, when you look up a word, you should look up pronunciation as well. Cambridge Dictionary and Oxford Dictionary, all the good dictionaries have pronunciation. Of course, they have transcriptions if you're using like a paper version of it, but they also have websites, and Cambridge also has an app. I do like the website better than the app, but you know, I don't always have my computer with me, so sometimes I use an app. And on Oxford and on Cambridge, I mean websites, you can listen to the word, right? So you don't have to know the transcription symbols. I know that for a lot of people that's difficult, but you can listen to the word and pronounce it the same way. So I think that's absolutely amazing. I did not have that when I was when I was studying, when I was starting, yeah, when I started studying English. So I envy everybody who's studying English now. Because you know, I had to learn transcription science because I only had the paper version of the dictionary. And yeah, well, that was hard, but it was also fun. And now it's more, I don't know, convenient, right? You should use it. Spelling. Well, of course, you should know how to write a word, right? What are the right letters to put into a word to make it make sense? Meaning. Yes. I guess these two are in a bit of a conflict, if you ask me. I do not like translations, and I do not think that you should know a translation of a word to know the word, right? You can't convince me otherwise. I do not know the translation of so many words in English and in Russian, right? I can't often find the replacement for one word in one language into another. And I do not think that's a problem unless you are a translator or an interpreter. Then, of course, you do need that, you know, two columns in your head where you have English word, Russian word, English word, Russian word. But the truth is, a lot of words do not have like complete uh, copies in another language. So it's absolutely all right if you don't know one particular word or a lot of different words like me in another language. That's totally fine. If you know what it means, if you understand the concept, the idea, and how to use this word, you do not need the translation. In fact, lots of times translations actually get in the way, right? Because you try to use that word the same way that you use it in Russian, but it doesn't work the same way because this is a different language. So yeah, always base your decision on how to use a word on meaning and on usage, right? So usage, collocations, how we how native speakers use their language, how native speakers use this word. You should do it the same way. And that brings us to our next point, how to use it with other words. These can be collocations or patterns or idioms, right? Lots of things. But again, you can get that from dictionaries. Oxford, Cambridge, Merriam-Webster, if you're into the American version of the language, right? Collins Dictionary. There are a lot of different dictionaries out there, and all of them show you how to use a word. There are examples there, example sentences. So do not ever learn a word, just one word, because it's so much more. You have to know how to use that word. So instead of learning the word, I don't know, let's take something simple, mistake, right? Instead of learning mistake is something that you did wrong, learn make a mistake, right? Do something wrong, right? To make a mistake is a collocation, and that way you already know how to use the word mistake in a sentence, right? And you will not make the mistake of saying do a mistake, because do a mistake is wrong. It's not a collocation. That's not how they use the word mistake. So if you know that, you definitely know the word. Grammatical characteristics maybe are not as important to you if you're not going to pass YAGE, but they are of course important to you if you want to pass this exam or any other language exam. Grammatical characteristics are like, I don't know, is my noun countable or uncountable, right? How do I use it in my speech? Not because of collocations and stuff, but because, like, I don't know, which verb form to use with it, right? For example, the word news, right? News is a singular word. Yes, we do have S at the end, but it's singular. And if you know that, then you know that we have to use a singular verb form after it. News is good, not are. Right? And that's, well, that's important to know about a word. If you know how to use the word both grammatically and meaning-wise in a sentence, then you know the word. Congratulations. Again, translation, that's not important. It's a good idea if you want to become a translator or an interpreter, and even if you're just interested in that, yeah, in how one language, I don't know, connects with another, it's okay if you know the translation, but if you don't, that's also all right. Okay, and yes, last one, but it's pretty important, right? To learn vocabulary, to learn words, you do have to use them, right? So if you find somewhere, I don't know, uh, if you hear an interesting word, but it's about something that you don't usually talk about in life, maybe don't learn it, right? You're not going to use it, so why would you need it? Uh, as an example, a student of mine today, she's in IT, you know, and she knows quite a bit about math. And she was talking about, she said that word in Russian, and I have no idea what it is in English because I have no idea what it is in Russian. Переменная, right? So I guess that's something from math, but I have no idea what that is. And so I'm not going to Google that word to, I don't know, try to understand what it means because I'm not going to use it. So I'm not going to remember, right? For the exam, of course, you do have like a set of topics, right? And for those topics, you should select a list of words, right? That you want to know, that you want to learn, that are useful for the exam. Learn them, right? Not everything that you meet out there. That is, well, that's just, you don't need it, right? It's not useful. It's not helpful to I don't know, write down 5,000 words that you're not going to use, right? Okay, organize. Right, here on the screen, you can see some ways to organize your vocabulary so that it's easier for you to learn. This one, I'm going to delete from the list because I do not like it. And again, two columns with translations when you have one column with an English word and the second column with a Russian word. I do not like that way because it is very old, it's outdated, and we have many more useful, cool ways to organize our vocabulary that are going to actually help us more, right? Maybe the only yes, maybe the only sphere where it's useful to use two columns with translations is when you are trying to remember some terms, right? Some medical terms, for example, right? Or I don't know, terms from law, uh, just terms, right? Things that you don't really, it's not a concept, it's a particular technical thing that you do know in Russian, but you don't know in English. Maybe that way, yeah, that's useful. Absolutely. Like, I don't know. For example, that's actually how it is in our course, in our year-long course. We studied diseases with translations. I think that was the only vocabulary topic that we studied with translations instead of meanings, because, well, I don't know how to explain what's insult, for example, right? I have no idea. I mean, something happens in the brain, that's it. But you can't really learn that word that way. So you do have a concept, insult, in Russian, right? So you just translate it into stroke, right, in English. Um, Maybe, yeah, that's way it's useful. But for all the other things that you are going to learn that are much more useful than just diseases, right? You have some other ways to organize your vocabulary. Mind maps, right? When you draw, yeah, like I don't know, transport, and then you have bus, car, plane, and so on, right? That is visual information. That is, for a lot of people, a better way to learn vocabulary, to understand it, and to kind of organize it not only on paper, but also in your head. Synonyms and antonyms. I don't know. I get very confused when I try to learn words this way. But again, people are different, and different ways are right for different people. Topics in tables. Use whatever you like. Yeah, if you like Excel, if you like tables, do that. If you like systems, maybe that's a good idea to try it. Collocations and fixed phrases. That's my favorite one because this way, when you write down whole collocations and fixed phrases, maybe even, I don't know, not fixed phrases, but just phrases that you heard somewhere in a series or on social media, if you write them down and try to remember them as they are, that's a better way to learn English than just by separate words. Parts of speech. It is another way, meaning that you don't just learn one word, but you learn it in a family. Yeah, something like success, right? You see the word success somewhere, and at the same time, you learn successful, succeed, right? So you learn them in a whole family. One is a noun, the second one is an adjective, the last one is a verb. That is very useful for our exam because we have a word formation part of the exam, right? 25 through 29, those are word formation exercises. And for a lot of people, well, this way is just convenient, right? That's how their brain works. You just have to try them, right? And figure out which way is useful for you, which way works. Use that. If two columns with translations work for you, use that. I mean, I'm not going to tell anyone. Number 4, right? A bit of a joke here. Right, this is Wednesday Addams. If somebody doesn't know who she is a character from a series. And she is famous for having a very angry face, right? Here we have a phrase, I suffer from that syndrome. where your neutral expression makes you look like an angry serial killer. So a lot of people, a lot of students see grammar like this, right? But we can do a couple of things to make it easier. First of all, here are some resources that I absolutely love. Well, the last one can be questionable because there are a lot of people on YouTube, right? And sometimes you may see some content that is not maybe from people who are not really qualified to talk about English or any other topic, really. I mean, there are amateurs everywhere, right? So always look at the credentials of a person, like why do they tell you to do something right now? Why are they telling you about grammar? Do they have a degree? Do they know English well enough to actually talk about grammar? But if you do know the person, if you do know that they are a good teacher, or I don't know, maybe they're just a native speaker, then it's a good idea to learn grammar with them. British Council, I absolutely love this resource. Not only when it comes to grammar, but grammar is very um, simple there, right? So if you want an explanation on some grammar topic and you don't have a teacher at the time for any reason, go there and you may find a very good answer to your question. The second one, Grammarly, is unfortunately not available in Russia right now without VPN, but I do love it. So their blog, I mean, they write about different aspects of English, and you can find again a lot of answers there on grammar. Well, their name is Grammarly, right? So they do know what they're talking about. I love this resource. And guys, another thing I wanted to say here is that if you go on any resource, right, and you don't understand the explanation to something, don't give up. Go somewhere else. Ask your teacher, ask your friend, ask me. I'm here. Ask different resources because they do all explain it in different ways. And if you don't understand one explanation, it doesn't mean that you are, I don't know, stupid or you're bad at English. No, it just means you need a different explanation. So do try a bit more if you don't understand it the first time. That's how you make friends with grammar. You just try, right? And then even grammar can smile, right? Just like Wednesday Adams smiled here. Okay, 5. What topics at the exam? Guys, this is the last question, and I'm going to answer this in a very simple way. They are in Codificator, right? Codificator lists all the topics that can be at the exam. Mind you, it is updated every year, right? So here on the slide, you can see the one from 2024. If you're going to pass the exam in 2025, there is going to be a new codificator published, right? If you don't want to read, bureaucracy, just follow us on Telegram and here, and I promise we'll tell you all the updates that there are going to be when it is published, all right, on topics and on grammar and on different tasks, on everything really. Codificator lists all the details of the exam. And yes, this is the most important message from me for today. Believe me, you can do it. If I did it, you can. I'm not special, I promise, right? But I can help, right? And if you do want my help, then right now we have summer school, right? We had only one lesson on Monday with Oge and Yege. And Thursday, we're going to have the second lesson. So you've only missed one lesson for now, and you can still join us, right? You can watch the missed lesson in recording and join us on at the second lesson to continue to, I don't know, study English and be happy together. Summer school is very relaxed, right? We don't take any deep and serious topics, right? But we do study some of the tasks from the exam so that you can already now perfect your way towards your precious 100 points, right? Ссылочка на летнюю школу у нас под этим видео. Переходите, покупайте, скидки до 50% сейчас. 2 месяца, 16 занятий. Уже 15, но 16 в записи вы всегда можете его посмотреть. Оно никуда не денется от вас. В летней школе на первом занятии мы разбирали демо-версию, поэтому, возможно, вы уже в курсе, и вам и не надо, собственно. Но если надо, то все записано, да, и это было такое не практическое занятие, где вам нужно было практиковаться, а я скорее просто рассказывала вам, да, вводила в курс того, что вообще в экзамене у нас есть, что нужно знать, что нужно выучить и что нужно практиковать, чтобы сдать его успешно. Вот, поэтому то первое занятие, которое вы пропустили, это не потеря, почти лекция, можно сказать. Да, про занятия рассказала. 2 раза в неделю занятия у нас проходят с утра, да, чтобы у вас потом целый день свободен на летние всякие начинания. Погулять, потусить, не знаю, сходить на пляж. Домашние задания у нас есть на курсе, но они всего раз в неделю, да, то есть не после каждого занятия, а после 2, да, чтобы мы все, что мы изучили за неделю, отпрактиковали еще раз в домашке. Это важно. Да, мини-группы до 15 человек. В английском поменьше, чем до 15. Ну, нам это важно, потому что нам всем надо практиковать свой язык на занятиях, да, когда у нас 15 человек в группе, это становится сложно. Поэтому у нас обычно до 10. И да, пробный ЕГЭ тоже уже говорила сегодня. В начале летней школы мы проходим пробник, чтобы посмотреть, с чем вы к нам пришли, да, и в конце чтобы посмотреть, что мы вам дали, какой у вас прогресс за те 2 месяца, что вы с нами учились. Большого прогресса за 2 месяца обещать не буду и не могу, но прогресс однозначно должен быть, мы на него рассчитываем. Если, конечно, вы соблюдаете все наши рекомендации и ходите на занятия, а не просто так купили курс. Если просто купить курс, к сожалению, такая магия пока не работает. Мы пытаемся ее имплементировать, но пока не очень успешно. Вот, поэтому если заниматься с нами, если делать то, что мы вам советуем, то прогресс, конечно, обязательно будет. И еще одна штучка для тех, кто уже сдал экзамены. Экспертное сопровождение при поступлении в ВУЗ у нас все еще действует. Суперпрограмма, которая помогает вам подать все документы, выбрать ВУЗ. Очень советую, обязательно обращайтесь. Если перейдете по ссылочке под этим видео, то там тоже найдете на вот эту программу кнопочку. Да, ребят, пожалуйста, ставьте лайк, подписывайтесь, like and subscribe, right? Если вам понравилось это видео, это будет полезно как нам для дружбы с YouTube, так и вам. Вы будете видеть наши видосы чаще, видосы, трансляции, все наши материалы. Ссылочка на наш телеграм-канал тоже есть под этим видео. Там мы очень часто практикуемся во всяких заданиях из ЕГЭ, и там, ну, там просто чуть более часто, да, я есть, публикую всякие кружочки, разговариваю с вами и хочу разговаривать с вами. Вот, поэтому подписывайтесь. Была очень рада всех видеть. Спасибо, что пришли. And I will see you next time. Okay? Have a nice day, everyone.